So welcome everyone to our Tuesday evening meditation, which happens to double up this week as the full moon meditation of February. I'm led to believe there are a few people who are new to meditation, am I right? Ish? Okay, so I'll spend just the first 5 minutes introducing a little bit about how exactly to meditate, and then we will do some meditation for probably about half an hour today. So the basics of meditation, for those who are new, is that meditation is really, it is a group of different methods which are designed to do the same thing, which is to gather together our awareness, which is normally caught up or held hostage by the amazingly distracting things in the outside world, and to have the chance to bring them back from all those things to a space within our own body. And the point of doing that is that it gives the mind some downtime when you need to relax, or when you need to come back within yourself in order to get a sense of meaning in life, a sense of self-understanding, a sense of your life not being hollow and meaningless, as it can sometimes appear to be if nothing is interesting except everything else in the world except yourself. So I'm not advocating a sort of navel-gazing or just being obsessed with yourself, but everyone needs some time to come back from all those other things, to give time to yourself in order to redress the balance for those of us who do a lot to serve others in society. So there are different ways to attract our awareness from the outside world back within the space of our own body. And one which you probably have heard of before is to use the breath as a way to bring the mind within the body. Because if you can focus your awareness on the breath, then because the breath is going in and out within the space of the body, then it will keep your awareness within the body for as long as the two are together. The only drawback of the breathing meditation is that you're always working with a moving target. And also there are some times in our meditation where the breath may disappear altogether. Doesn't mean you've stopped breathing, but it's become very subtle, in which case you may feel a little bit in a quandary as to where to put your awareness next. So generally in the tradition which this meditation center follows, we work instead with some sort of imaginary visualization by conjuring up a sense of brightness within ourselves, or an equivalent, as if that object is within the space of our body. And there's a place down inside us where if we can imagine that object continuously, whether it's something we see or something we feel in our mind's eye, then it will keep the mind in place and tell us two important things about the mind at the same time, which are, firstly, where our mind is located, because the mind will be located wherever that imaginary object is located. And secondly, it tells us about the quality of our concentration, because the moment we're distracted, then the inner picture will disappear. So it gives us very accurate feedback, let's say. With any meditation practice, and we'll try some in a minute and I'll lead you through that, it's important that we do some preliminaries first of all, in terms of making sure our whole body is relaxed and comfortable to the point that we can more or less forget about it. And the second thing is to be able to relax our state of mind and put it in a positive state of mind in order to set the scene for the meditation ahead. So generally the position we adopt when we're meditating, for those who like to meditate sitting cross-legged, then generally the half lotus position is recommended, just with the right foot up on top of the left calf. And the way we put our hands together is with the right hand on top of the left hand, and the index finger of the right hand goes up against the thumb of the left hand before resting palm upwards in our lap. If we're sitting on a chair, then we generally try to sit as upright as we can, not sort of bolt upright, but at least extending our spine so that we can breathe easily, so our circulation is unimpeded. And this tends to be the ideal posture for meditation. Keeping our mind in place is achieved by the inner object, which we see or feel inside us, which we've conjured up. If we have a particular problem with thoughts in our meditation interrupting, we can try ignoring them. For many people that will work just fine. For those of us who have a rather bigger helping of thoughts, then it may mean that we need to take more extreme measures, which for meditation comes in the form of a mantra, and we would hear the sound of a mantra coming up as a part of our meditation from the same point in the center of ourself, down at the solar plexus. And the suggested mantra is the words Samma Arahang. And you can see the meaning of that there. But if you want to substitute in a mantra of your own, then that's perfectly fine as well. The idea is that it occupies the part of your mind that does the random thinking normally. So it's a little sort of thought blocker which you can use in order to cut through the thoughts a little bit more easily if you have particular problems with them. So what we're going to do now is to sit for some meditation, and because it is our full moon meditation today, then we have the special feature, which is that halfway through the meditation I will mention that you reach over and light your candles, which for those of you who are not familiar with LED candles, you do by twisting it clockwise in its twisting the flame clockwise, and please not trying to light it on fire. Yes, otherwise that will be a bit of a disaster. So are you comfortable now? And we'll sit for some meditation together. So now that we are ready to meditate, you can adjust your sitting posture to be as comfortable as possible. Doesn't matter whether you're sitting on the floor or on a chair, as long as you can settle yourself down as comfortably as possible. And we gently close our eyes. Close our eyes in much the same way that we might close them in order to go to sleep. We try to avoid any tension in our posture, so even if we're sitting cross-legged, we try to do so in as relaxed a way as possible. Make sure there's nothing to impede the smooth circulation of our blood throughout our legs. And we place both of our hands palm upwards in our lap. We're sitting on a chair, then generally sitting with 2 feet flat on the floor and extending our back to its full height with our chin horizontal. And again, placing both of our hands palm upwards in our lap. Ensuring that we have unimpeded circulation all the way from the top of our head, right the way down to the tips of our toes. And we breathe deeply and gently 2 or 3 times. Letting each breath carry our attention back within ourselves. Breathing in until our breath reaches all the way down to the deepest point of our abdomen, before breathing out again very slowly. We allow our breath to embody our awareness, and transport it back to the present moment. We may feel the way in which our shoulders drop to their natural height and rest naturally. We can follow our breath a few more times before taking a little moment to observe once again our sitting posture, so that we can be sure that we're sitting in the most comfortable possible position. To allow our mind to remain still and undisturbed. Undistracted for the longest possible time, without any physical discomfort to bother our continuity of awareness. And if at any time in our meditation any discomfort returns, then we can feel free to just adjust ourselves at any time. So we adjust our posture to be comfortable and slowly bring our attention back to be aware of our bodily sensation. And we do that by relieving every muscle from any remaining tension. Starting at the top of our head, we allow our attention to move gently down through the body, relaxing the forehead, and moving on down through our face, relaxing our neck and shoulders, and observing as the flow of relaxation spreads along both of our arms to our hands, all the way to the tips of our fingers. We allow the sense of relaxation to spread down through our chest, trunk and torso, across the whole of our abdomen, and down to our legs and feet, all the way down to the tips of our toes. Leaving us with the feeling that all the remaining tension in our body has been slowly dissipated completely, especially from our facial muscles and our shoulders, leaving us feeling completely relaxed, at ease, and comfortable. Because when our body is comfortable, it's very easy for our mind to become still and remain undistracted. So we take as much time as we need to make sure the whole of our body feels at ease. And turning now to the relaxation of the mind. If our mind starts to wander or be distracted, in fact, there's no need to put up a fight against those thoughts. We just bring our attention back gently to the relaxation of our body, conjuring up a feeling inside ourselves as if we are about to go on holiday, to take a vacation. We might picture ourselves sitting alone in serene, natural surroundings, which could be on a beach or on the top of a mountain, surrounded by forest or even in the desert. Anywhere that you'd like to be. Anywhere where you'd feel the happiest. You can imagine yourself being in the middle of that place, at the center of that space, as if you were becoming one with those serene, natural surroundings. As if this were your personal corner of peace, where you can take a step back from the busy world outside. And it's a place where you can rest and re-energize your mind with peace. So we take a moment to observe our surrounding space and feel as if it expands slowly outwards to the horizon. And here at the center of our personal space, we observe and take a mental note of the way our whole body is pervaded with a sense of peace and tranquility. And we allow our awareness to come into harmony with this sensation of peace. To the point that the thoughts gradually drop away, leaving the mind at a standstill, allowing the mind to decompress, letting go of any remaining thoughts, feelings or residual emotions, any frustrations or worries still cluttering your mind. You might imagine that those thoughts in the mind are gradually blowing away like thistledown or the seeds on a dandelion clock, gradually freeing up our mind of all the burdens that we've been carrying inside us, whatever they may be. Because this is a time for us to rest, to just be. And it begins with the unburdening of our own mind from all kinds of mental clutter, letting them go one by one, little by little, until our mind feels as comfortable as our body, feeling free and liberated, as if everything inside us has been transformed into weightlessness and spaciousness. And when the mind can become unburdened, and everything seems to become broad and expansive, light and free. And the feeling when our mind can break free from the usual negativity it feels is rather like that of clouds floating freely in the sky, free of any control, free of any kind of force, even defying gravity, free and unconstrained. So take as long as you need to free up your mind until your body seems to merge with the space around you. At which point we can slowly bring our attention back inside ourselves, to that special place at the center of our abdomen, or a place inside us where the mind feels the most comfortable. It's at the center that we can connect with our true self inside on a deeper level. So gently place the mind, place the awareness at the center of yourself. at a place in the middle of your abdomen. And observe the gradually increasing sense of peace that slowly immerses the mind, continuously and gently. And here at the center, our mind finally feels that it has returned home after a long journey, giving it the chance to rest and re-energize without us needing to do anything, to engage with anyone or anything outside of itself. It's the time for the mind to rest, to sit back and relax. Finally have the chance to shed all its ingrained negativity. And here at the center we can visualize an image, to have an object for the mind as a point of reference or an anchor to allow it to settle. And in this respect you can visualize a bright full moon, like the one we've seen shining high up in the sky. But in this case we feel that the bright full moon slowly emerges at our own center inside us, shining brightly, radiating its light all around, warm, soft, bright and clear. We allow this light to expand, letting the warm, bright moonlight share its light around, expanding, illuminating the lives of every living being, and letting that bright full moon represent our mind at a standstill inside of ourselves. So we let this inner brightness shine forth as a token of our own mind, at one with it, at one and the same as the light shining brightly all around. And if we find our mind becoming distracted from time to time, we acknowledge the activity of the mind and direct our mind back again to the center. The reality of meditation in the beginning is that it's always going to be this gentle back and forth. So pay attention to the process of moving away from the center and coming back. As you do so, this movement of the attention will leave you unfazed, allowing you to come back again and again, while cultivating a sense of patience and gentleness with yourself, and never trying to push anything away. You never have to try to control or fix your thoughts. And if at any time during the meditation you realize that the mind's wandered or got caught up in thinking, it's not a problem. It's just what it's used to doing. But we give it something different. We reintroduce it to the center, observing the center. Every time that we bring our awareness back to the center, it will allow us to dive deep to where the stillness and calm is, to where the beauty is. You need to tell yourself that there's nothing that you have to get right or perfect. You simply remain curious and observe in the present moment. You're getting to know the center while observing its qualities. Creating a space between yourself and your thoughts, and tapping into that still, silent place. If the thoughts return, we do our best to ignore them. And if ignoring the thoughts proves ineffective, then we can make use of the traditional mantra instead, using the words Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang. The more you say the mantra, the more power you give to the words of the mantra, and the more they will start to be able to help our mind become free of thought. You start to lead deeper towards a sense of purity in the mind. So we feel these words resonating within the heart and within every cell of ourselves, to the very fiber of our being, with each repetition of the mantra. Without meditation, most people have an attention span no better than a goldfish, sometimes estimated to be about 8 seconds. But however you measure up to a goldfish, it seems fair to say that relaxation and focus are two qualities that everyone wants more of. The ancients believed that you can quiet the mind and settle your nerves by focusing on a single object, like inner brightness, a full moon, or an imagined candle flame inside ourselves. And such a technique can help us enhance our cognitive function, mental health, and spiritual connectedness. Because often people have forgotten how to relax. Everything from technology to the pandemic has made it difficult for people to focus their minds and find a state of calm. But by focusing inwardly on a meditational object, it helps us to empty our mind by keeping our awareness in gentle contact with the center of the body. Through meditation on inner brightness, can increase our cognitive performance and focus, attention span, and the quality of our sleep. Digging deeper, even research says that inner visualization of brightness can enhance working and spatial memory, and even spatial attention. Bolsters our selective attention, cognitive flexibility, and response inhibition, can improve cognition even in aging populations. Meditation has long been used as a tool for stress relief and relaxation, and it can help with anxiety, while inner visualization gives our attention a place to rest, so that our senses are no longer on high alert for negative stimuli in our surroundings. And since meditation helps with relaxation, it can also improve sleep quality and reduce the severity of insomnia. Take us beyond the material world by utilizing the intuitive or internal eye to calm our mental state. But it's not entirely about calming ourselves down. It also brings a sense of internal strength and resilience, allowing us to deal better with day-to-day life, because we no longer react impulsively to what life throws at us. Some of the spiritual benefits which meditation brings are also tuning into a sense of moderation in our emotions, our actions, and our movements, and an increase in consciousness and clarity. All we need to do is to maintain our attention gently in contact with the brightness at the center of our body, and in letting go of the thoughts, you trust that everything worth remembering will actually be even clearer after you've meditated. As with all forms of meditation, it's best not to go into your practice expecting a particular experience, but rather to be open to what comes up. And this will help us to enhance our relationship with ourselves or our emotional integrity. So for now we focus gently at the center of ourselves, lightly, gently and continuously for a few more moments in silence, at the center of our body with the inner brightness, and using the mantra if necessary to keep our thoughts at bay for a few more moments in silence. Now that our mind and the peace energy inside us becomes one, we continue to maintain our awareness at the center, continue to remain in that ocean of peace energy, while we slowly open our eyes in order to light our candle lanterns. Because now is the time for us to illuminate the world by lighting the little candles that we've prepared, feeling that candlelight radiating warm and bright as the external symbol of our inner light, our peace energy, and our positive intentions. So for those of us who have a candle to hand, we can light our candle at this time before returning again to our meditation practice.
Come to light the candle, bear a glorious light. My mind inside is candle bright. Come we all come to intensify our light. Come and gather and add to the candle light and be the light of Dhammakaya. Eliminate all the darkness. Bathe the sky in golden light. Be the light of Dhammakaya. Remove the darkness from my mind, bathing all lives into gold. I am the candlelight. I'm a kind of brilliant light. I am like a glorious light. My mind inside is candle bright.
So having lit our candle lights, we continue closing our eyes and bringing the light of that candle back inside us. As we visualize the candle flame at our center, we let that candlelight represent the loving kindness that we have inside us. When the mind comes to a standstill, when it breaks free of extraneous thought, it will connect with the peace energy that we've generated. And we'll always have it there when the mind is pure and free from mental impurities, whether it be greed, hatred, or delusion. The peace inside will transform into loving kindness, compassion, good wishes, and positive intention for others. And as today's meditational theme is the spreading of the light of hope, by now we'll start to realize that hope must begin within our own minds. When we are the light, then we are able to reach out and share the light with others as a result of that. And that's when hope becomes more than just an idea, but something that can be shared through the practice of meditation. The starting point for hope is when our mind can come to a standstill, become free of thought, and start to generate inner light and well-being. But the true way to sustain this generation of light and hope is to avoid pushing too hard. This is why we always put so much emphasis on the concept of comfort in meditation, as a way to keep the mind steady, calm, relaxed, and at the same time just being an observer in meditation. And there's no need to interfere in the process. It's more like we take one step back and observe what's going on. So we gently place our attention at the center of the candlelight inside and feel the light spread slowly outwards, expanding and radiating in all directions until we can feel the light perfusing the whole of our entire body and being. We allow it to expand further until it covers the whole of the room where we're sitting for meditation, further still to the whole building, to our neighborhood, and all the way outwards to the whole city, the country, the entire nation, and the rest of the world. Sharing this light of hope, love and peace to whoever is within reach, with the affirmation that may our loving kindness reach out to all people, all sentient beings. May they live free from danger, from sadness, from suffering of all kinds. May anyone who has experienced misfortune be free from that sadness and sorrow. And may joy and happiness fill their lives instead. So we spread our loving kindness, our compassionate intention to all living beings without exception. Our mind, like the full moon, spreading its light to every person, every living being, regardless of race, religion or creed. Simply sharing our universal love, wishing them to be free from harm, to be established in joy and happiness. In the same way that all the individual candles, which in themselves are not particularly bright, but when lit together, can produce a more substantial brightness to illuminate the world. In the same way, we bring together our small intentions for hope and peace, allowing them to connect together from all around the world. And those tiny intentions from meditators everywhere, radiating loving kindness together, can form a worldwide tide for peace and good on our planet. We allow it to expand beyond borders, boundaries, reaching out to every sentient being, further outwards to friends, family, loved ones, whether they're still living or have passed on. We embrace them all with that peace energy and with that loving kindness, whether they're here or elsewhere, making the affirmation that they find comfort and love and loving kindness in all that we share. May the seeds of compassion be planted in the hearts, minds and souls of every living being, that everyone may live happy and free, safe from pandemics or epidemics, established in love and compassion, respect and generosity. May the power of our positive energy and merit keep us safe from all danger and suffering. So let's expand the light and energy beyond all limits. As we bring our attention back within ourselves and allowing the flow of energy running through our entire body to bring us back in touch with our bodily sensations, connecting with our positive affirmations on the inside, on the basis of the peace energy generated today, and through the sharing of that peace and the power of our loving kindness, hope, and energy, which will spread to all living beings for a few more moments in silence. Samphe Buddha Palapata Pachekananchayam Palang Arahantananchate Jena Rakambandami Sapaso Sapaputtanupavena Sapathammanupavena Sapasankhanupavena Satha Soti Bhavantu Te. So if you'd like to gently come to the end of your meditation for today, and you can gradually open your eyes again. If you feel at all uncomfortable, then slowly try changing to a more comfortable position before gradually finishing your practice. So I hope you all manage to touch upon peace a little bit in your meditation. Today we have the theme of our full moon day of our meditation, and any sort of astronomical event in such a short month as February is already quite an achievement. But the full moon of this particular month is sometimes been nicknamed the snow moon, because it has a sort of a wintry glow if it appears for long enough between the clouds. But probably more appropriate for this country, it's also sometimes known as the storm moon, the bony moon, or the hunger moon, because of the scarcity traditionally at this time of the year in the other side of the Atlantic at least. And in America at least, the snow moon is supposed to reflect the fact that February tends to be the snowiest month. And in the words of one Kentucky poet at least, the snow moon sings her song on a cold February breath that lays hauntingly across the early morning like our unwelcoming blanket. So depending on your culture and your world location, you might have different associations for the full moon at this time of the year. However, it's not that hard to notice, generally speaking, because it appears full for about a day before and the day after it reaches its peak. So we have been a little bit able to be flexible in the day that we chose for our full moon day today. And the sort of lunar event that we tend to think of this month anyway is usually more to do with the Lunar New Year and Chinese New Year, because that was marked in fact by a new moon about 15 days ago. And it's particularly important in mainland China, Taiwan, Korea, and Singapore, whereas mostly in the Indian calendar, where the likes of the Buddhists tend to derive most of their excuses for meditations from, it tends to be more on the full moon that marks the calendar. However, I do notice from the Google Doodle today that today actually aligns with the Shangyuan Lantern Festival, which is indeed the 15th day of the first lunar month of the Chinese calendar, which is yet another auspicious world festival that aligns with our full moon day today. Rather more on the Buddhist cultural side, though, the full moon of what's counted as the third lunar month has got a particular importance in the Buddhist calendar. It's known as Magha Puja Day. And for Thai people in the Buddhist calendar, there are generally about 3 main festivals in every year, which tend to attract people to the temple anyway. There's the Buddha's birthday, which is also a full moon, which is in the 6th month, Vesak Day, generally in May. And it's sometimes thought of as a Buddha Day. It's a simple way to remember it. The Magha Puja Day, which is today, or at least tomorrow, it tends to be the full moon of February, where the Buddha gave some particularly important teachings, which were a blueprint for the way that Buddhism should be spread around the world, and consequently it's thought of as sort of Dharma Day. And the third one, which I haven't mentioned yet, is known as Katina Day, the offering of robes, which is normally in October or early November. And because it's in support of the monastic community, sometimes it's thought of as Sangha Day. But the day we're talking about today, historically, this Dharma Day or Makapuja Day is a day when the Buddhists find ways to show how grateful they are for a particular set of teachings which the Buddha gave 2,500 years ago. And generally, the tradition practice on Makapuja Day is to make offerings of candle lights out of respect for the Buddha. And as you may have seen in Thailand and other places like that, people do what's known as circumambulating. Heard that word before? Have you ever been circumambulated before? Well, it usually means going around something. Generally, respectfully means going clockwise around something. And the ceremonies, people go clockwise around something they respect, like a chapel or a pagoda or a statue. So that's what they do with these candle lights. And anyone who's interested to see exactly how that's done, you might want to join us at lunchtime tomorrow. Yeah. In our temple, it's also the 53rd anniversary of the main temple from which this branch is derived. So it's a particularly important ceremony as well. And because there is an open space for about 1 square kilometer in the main temple in Thailand, then it has a capacity for a lot of people to bring those candles together. So it's usually a very beautiful ceremony. I'll show you some pictures in just a moment. But it's also because of the peaceful environment and the lighting of the candles, it tends to attract people of all faiths and none, because of the everyone feels they have a part in the ceremony, whatever their beliefs, because it's such a peaceful thing to watch the sort of the gentle flickering of the candle lights in such a large area while everyone's sitting silently for meditation. Historically, though, Makapuja was marked by 4 miraculous coincidences, which added to the sort of synchronicity of the events back then, 2,500 years ago. It was attended by 1,250 monks, all of whom were fully enlightened, personally ordained by the Buddha, but they sort of came together without being invited. They all knew spontaneously to come at that time. And it was, of course, the full moon day of the 3rd lunar month. And it was, in fact, the whole roster of all the monks who the Buddha had managed to persuade to join Buddhism up until that point. So it's 9 months into his dispensation. But the thing which is particularly important, which we take away from this event, is that he gave a special teaching. And the teaching is known as the Ovada Patimokkha, which is special. I'll tell you about what it says first of all. It says that patience is the ultimate training, and while at the same time pointing to nirvana as the goal which you have to be very patient in order to attain, so perfect enlightenment. And importantly, that monks should never behave in a way that is oppressive towards others. So he's laying down the ground rules for how monks ought to deport themselves when they're going out to talk about Buddhism to others. And these teachings are particularly important because some religions have used violent means as a way to propagate their religious beliefs. But for Buddhism, the Buddha said right from the get-go that this is not the way he wanted Buddhism to be spread. Monks shouldn't be scary figures, but ones who people would like to approach them and learn from them instead of feeling threatened by them. The second thing, there's 3 parts to it. He continued by saying that something which is known as the heart of Buddhism, which is the admonition to practice 3 things. Firstly, to do only good things. Oh, sorry, that's the second one there. Avoid doing anything bad, and to purify one's mind. And although some people might flinch slightly at the word evil, but what you should notice is that the Buddha said that we ought to deal with the evil within ourselves, not pointing the finger at others by characterizing other people as evil or to be dealt with. So dealing with the evil parts, which are still our demons within ourselves. And this gives us the basis of the 3 main practices within Buddhism: to be good by being generous, by avoiding any unwholesomeness, by keeping precepts or sila, and purifying the mind by practicing meditation. So those are 3 things which you can build into your daily routine without very much trouble at all, generally, as long as you're a person who practices a little bit of generosity every day, whether it be putting a coin in a charity box each day. Keeping 5 precepts would be a way to keep up your integrity, and meditating a little each day. I'd hope you would consider practicing meditation for 20 minutes a day if you find that it was useful for you today. Third part of the Ovada Patimokkha is again advice for how to reach out towards others with meditation or Buddhist teachings. Is that especially for monks going out and talking to people in a multicultural society where people have a variety of beliefs, then never to insult other people or to harm others. So you might talk about how great meditation is, but you can't say it's better than the other person's religion. Or you may not trash talk the other person's religion or force them not to practice their old religion anymore. Make sense? So pretty clear from the start of Buddhism. But it's recommended to talk about meditation in a way that's peaceful, because you can't spread peace in a way that's not peaceful. You have to be the peace that you are talking about. Apart from that, you may know that monks have got quite a lot of rules to follow. Not just monks, I think even regular Buddhists have got quite a lot of rules to follow. But yes, these rules protect a person's perceived integrity. And sometimes when we're under a lot of stress, sometimes we can be tempted to compromise some of our strictness in those. But if we are under particular duress, then that is often a time to make particularly sure of the special rules or precepts or manners that we try to uphold, and be particularly careful about those, sticking to them. If you're under scrutiny, let's say in your workplace, then you must be particularly careful to follow all the rules and regulations so that no one can catch you out, in order to preserve your reputation. And the third thing is that if you have a problem, then you should have a place where you can retreat from the problems in order to get some peace and quiet. Firstly, to be able to get a good night's sleep, to be able to think things through carefully, and also to be able to meditate, because without those 2 things, then you will be particularly vulnerable if you're under a lot of stress. And eating in moderation. Strange that it's mentioned all in one breath, but sometimes when we're under a lot of stress, then we eat either too much, head for the fridge, or we eat too little because we're just so stressed we can't eat anything anymore, or we eat the wrong sorts of things like intoxicants, which then end up becoming a crutch to our problems. So in a nutshell, the main teachings which the Buddha gave on this Magha Puja Day, especially when we are hopefully almost out of the woods with the pandemic. For such large numbers as this to join together in order to light candles and so on, has been a luxury already for the last 2 years. Mostly it was candles without people there. But this year, I hope that people are starting to come back again. We, in our own small way, have managed to celebrate the Maka Puja and the candle lighting a little bit. But the idea is that candles are rather feeble if they're on their own, easily blown out. But if many come together to light candles, then firstly, the brightness together is collectively quite a lot. And secondly, one person can light a candle from another one for as long as someone's candle is still alight. So it's a nice metaphor for the way that we support and encourage each other in our practice, even though sometimes we have good days and bad days, but when we see that people in general manage to keep up with their meditation, then it gives us the encouragement to go on as well. So the takeaway for today, even though you might not, some of the more Buddhist bits might not make a great deal of sense to you, but in terms of the crisis management, there's a lot in the teachings of the Maka Puja Day that we can draw upon. When we're angry, when we're stressed, then the first thing to tell ourselves never to do is to get mouthy with people and not to create yet more problems by becoming aggressive, because that will only add to whatever problems we already have. The second thing is that we need to be careful about our own conduct and deportment, especially if we're under scrutiny. If you're being accused of having cooked the books at work, then you need to be particularly careful to make sure that you're following all the procedures to the letter so that no one can catch you out on any small thing. Upholding your precepts would be the ethical equivalent of that. Taking care of your appetite when you're under stress can be particularly helpful. And lastly, if you've got that downtime, a place to go, your go-to place where you can get some peace and quiet is particularly valuable when you are under a lot of stress. And some people think that if they are under stress and meditation is just so hard when they're under a lot of stress, that maybe they should just sort of give it a miss. But actually, sometimes when we're under such stress, under such duress, even though meditation is very hard for us to do or to keep up, that is when meditation is most important in our lives. It's something that we should try to keep up, even though the meditation itself may not seem particularly spectacular, but it's at that point that it's really doing us a lot of good. It's really helping us to keep that connection of peace within ourselves and not to give up completely. So that is, in summary, what is going on this particular full moon day in different places around the world, whether it's the Lantern Festival in the more Far East, or if it's in Southeast Asia with the third lunar month's full moon, which is translated into Maka Puja Day. We tend to hold these full moon meditations once a month, as you might gather, and the next time ends up being on a Friday, which happens to coincide with the first day of the weekend retreat which we are organizing. So there'll be some people coming in for the candle lighting full moon event at the beginning of that retreat as well. Apart from that, we have every Saturday on Zoom for those who like to meditate from the comfort of their homes for whatever reason. Every Saturday online, and the Zoom channel you can get from the poster, I think, on the notice board there on the way out, between 7 and 8 p.m. with meditation and a short wisdom talk. For the young gentlemen amongst you, you may be interested, if you're free in June, to join trying out being a monk for either a month or at the minimum of 2 weeks. A free haircut is included. we hope to organize this for the first time after having to give it a miss for 2 years for obvious reasons. But generally we hold it for all of our European branches together in Belgium, where there's enough space to for the trainee monks to do camping as well as part of their ascetic lifestyle. Meditation retreat I was talking about, the next one coming up is this time next month, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 18th to the 20th, and you can live in here and meditate for 4 sessions a day, and it's a good way to take the next step from your normal daily meditation practice for those of you who would want to take your inner experience deeper or further. Generally, the people I talk to tend to find that the breakthroughs they make in their meditation tends to happen during some sort of meditation retreat, because it's the sort of accumulative energy which you've built up over continuous meditations for a longer than usual period of time. To encourage you to meditate at home, there's now an app for that, known as MindGem, MINDGEM, which allows you to listen to meditation audio tracks on your phone for set the length of time you'd like to meditate for, and maybe the instruction doesn't go on for the whole of that time, but it will leave you with a little bit of silence at the end before there's a soothing sound to bring you out of your meditation at the end. So that's very useful and dedicated to the tradition we've been practicing today. You see a few familiar monks in that app who you probably recognize from this particular center.